So, while I was filming the intro of this week's video, my worst audition ever, I filmed some B-roll of myself as a little girl when I started acting, and it reminded me of a bonus video, story time, about how I used to act when I was a little tyke. I'm probably going to call this like I was the worst child actor ever. Obviously, if you guys know my history, if you watched that video, you know I wasn't like a TV, movie, Hollywood child actor. I did plays, school plays, community theater plays in my small town, just like any other young starlet in a small market tries to do. But I went about it in a really weird way. So to give you a little bit more background about when I decided I want to be an actress, it's like literally a 20-year-old dream that just never stopped. I actually didn't want to be an actor in the really, really beginning. I actually wanted to be a pop singer in my single-digit years, like Britney Spears and the Spice Girls. But as I told you in the last episode, I don't know anything about music, and I'm not really the best singer. So when I was about 10 years old, I went to a Catholic school. We did this play called School for Cupids. I remember that because they put the title in like poster board above the frickin' stage, and they were asking the class who wanted to audition to be part of this play. Now, in my small mind, I was like, you know what? I want to be a pop singer, and sometimes pop singers are also actors, so maybe I'll audition for a play, and later on, I can transition in my career in the vastness of the entertainment industry. I'm pretty glad I did. I actually, throughout the years, really loved the craft of acting for reals, and realized I was not supposed to be a pop singer. Anyways, so when I did School for Cupids, basically what I did was I was playing the little bratty sister of another one of my classmates, so like we were like the same age, but I like put pigtails in and pretended I was like a 5-year-old instead of a 10-year-old. Big change. I just basically stomped my foot on stage and like yelled at my older sister being a brat. And that was that. And my grandma and my parents like praised me for it, and I'm like, oh, I get praise. Like, I'll keep doing this. The next year, or like a couple years after that, I left the Catholic school because it was awful. I guess if you want to hear that story, you can raise your hand in the comments. That's a little bit painful to tell. That's like a painful story. It was probably like the worst time in my life I've ever spent. The only time I actually like felt depressed as a person, as a human being. But if you want to hear it, this is YouTube. We share everything. The following years, I switched schools and I went to the massive public school, which I loved, changed my life. So glad to be there in like the various crowd of like different kids that I could relate to. We did a school play. It was like kind of like an against drugs kind of school play. And at that time, I guess I was around like 11 or 12 years old. I was obsessed with Harry Potter. I was pretty convinced that I was really good at an English accent because I'd been copying the kids on Harry Potter. So that meant, since I thought I was good at it and I knew how to do it, that I would audition every audition ever from that point on with an English accent, whether or not it was appropriate. Like, literally one of the teachers were like, to the other teacher, is she British? And the teacher was just like, no. I don't remember if I actually did the play with a British accent. I don't remember, but I definitely auditioned with it. To cycle back to how I got onto this subject, I went into 8th grade. 8th grade, where I did a play called something about a beauty pageant. Had a funny, beauty pageant. That was an interesting time in my life because I was in 8th grade. It was very exciting. Like, I felt like I was like at the top of my game for some reason. There was only one female lead, basically, and then there were just some like side characters, charactery characters, but there was generally one like female protagonist, and I of course really wanted that. It was a huge class. Like, one thing that I remember about that play is that hundreds of kids, or like at least dozens of kids auditioned for that play, because I remember all the rest of the kids that didn't make it into some of the lead or ensemble roles were then in the chorus line did the numbers in between whether or not they were dancers. It didn't matter. We were 13 years old. And there were like 50 of them. I didn't really realize that either until like a couple years after, because at the time I auditioned for the show. I was so nervous and so sure that I like screwed it up like that night after I auditioned. But I do remember like emptying my dishwasher and crying because I was so disappointed in myself that I just didn't do a good enough job. Again, I don't remember why. A couple days later, they posted the sheet. I never had this again where they like posted a piece of paper, a piece of computer paper that you know, said what role you got in the play. I saw that I did not get the female lead, but I got this character called Mrs. Hoopway. This character was the antagonist of the show. She was this old lady. I dressed up in my grandma's wig and this really loud print old lady suit that looked really quite funny on me because I looked like a rail back then. Like, I was just like a skinny little girl. Skinny. And basically all I did during the show is I'd pop up whenever like the protagonist characters, like the lead characters, were talking amongst themselves, and I'd yell at them at the top of my lungs about giving me rent for the theater, because that's what I was, the owner of the theater. I was the old landlady of the theater, and that they were holding this beauty pageant in. Night of the Living beauty pageant. Again, stomp my feet and just scream at them. I was the antagonist as well as I was the comic relief, but basically all I was good for was just being loud and obnoxious.
Dude, nothing much has changed.
Somehow, it really made an impact with everybody. Everybody really liked the character. They thought she was really funny. And even towards the end of the show, you know, sometimes you'll have like a mantra, like a kind of, you know, powwow, like before you go on stage, you'll say some kind of like repeated mantra. One of the kids were like, "Who owns a theater?" And everybody would go, "Hoopway." It was really cute, and like it made me feel really good about being in that character, because when I originally saw my name next to that character, I had really mixed feelings. Like, I guess I was happy that I got a role, but at the same time, it wasn't the lead. That year, there were two actresses out of the play that got actor awards. Actor awards. Like, whatever was the prevailing factor on why we got that award, I don't really know. We weren't being judged on our, like, micro expressions and our character development. I freaking screamed at the top of my lungs on top of the stage. Me and my friend Lena, we both got these awards, and I don't really think about it. It's not like I wake up every day and I'm like, I got that award in 8th grade. Like, I was always destined, like, no. But sometimes I do think about it and I'm like, that was cool. It gave me a lot of confidence through high school, and then, you know, as I went forward, not to say that if you don't get awards, you shouldn't have confidence in yourself. Every tiny little positive thing that happens in your career, you should just be building up and remembering and stepping on top of. I would like hang like theater tickets on my wall of a play that I was in that I was really proud of, to remind me, like, you accomplished that, you were in that play, you were, you know, you did a good job, even if it wasn't an award. That was like my kid years, and that was kind of the thing that drove me to, again, audition for Gypsy and my college theater, even though I did not get into that. You can watch that video below in the description. And eventually pursue YouTube, making my own show, producing my own show, and eventually pursue film acting, which was the literal exact thing that I wanted to do ever since I was a little girl. I haven't achieved everything I wanted to yet. In fact, I feel like I'm at the very beginning of what I've always wanted to do. You guys will definitely be along with the journey if you want to be. Just keep clicking on these videos and learning more about me. Raise your hand in the comments if you want to see more story times about, you know, my childhood. There are going to be more actor story times, very juicy ones. I've gotten into so many weird situations in this entertainment industry. So guys, have a great 2019. I realize, yeah, this is going to be my first video in January if I post this after my New Year's Eve one. Have a great 2019. I'm going to be here with you. We're going to be doing it together. I've got so much going on. I'm gonna be moving to LA. Did I tell you guys that? Like, I've been planning to move to LA for literally, like, probably 7 years now. Yeah. And I just was so afraid for so long, and I really wanted to prepare myself, save lots of money, which I did, get a lot of experience here while I was still at home and with all the people that I loved and cared about. But now it's finally time for me to go do that cliche thing of going to LA to become an actor. If you guys ever wanted to help me along with that or make this transition easier for me, just watch my videos, pouring out my life in these videos. And I always loved YouTube for that, and I always appreciated when anybody was interested in what I had to say. So, thanks, guys. I'll see you in the rest of 2019. I love singing, but I'm very aware that to be a musician or a singer at all, it's a huge dedication of time, and I have full respect for people that dedicate their lives to being musicians because I have not done